All right, everybody, round 3 is up next. Don't mind my sweater, although, not gonna lie, it's pretty sick, right? There's Luigi and Bowser on here, too. I don't know, I'm pretty excited about it. So, got it for our podcast for an ugly sweater competition. It's not ugly, though. It's not ugly. Anyways, we got Xeloo versus JJStatman for OLS number 17, round 3, coming right up. And Xeloo, obviously, somebody who we've seen a ton of in a lot of different tournaments in the Legends of Runeterra scene. JJStatman, relatively new player to these tournaments, was nice enough at the beginning of the cast as well to go ahead and let us know that he was available streaming, as well as obviously for spectate. So, as always, if you guys are fans of the actual cast, or if you're watching the cast and watching these tournaments, you're always welcome to hit us up on Discord or just in the game. If you find our username somewhere, somehow, it's definitely floating around out there. But let us know. We'll add you, and we'll go ahead and see if we can spectate you at one of these tournaments. So, with that said, it's round 3. Let's go ahead and get right on into the action. Freljord Overwhelm Allegiance. All right. I've seen this before, though.
Yeah.
This is the Overwhelm deck.
I don't know if I've seen it with Atrocity as a splash, though. I'm trying to remember what I typically see the splash in it, but I honestly can't think of it off the top of my head. Maybe Decisive Maneuver?
Well, looks like they're already getting into the game. So we are going to go ahead and get this queued up. Looks like we will have both hands available. So good stuff there. Let's go ahead and head on into the game.
All right, we got Hecarim Plaza starting it off against the Go Hard, and honestly, a really aggressive opener from Xeloo, who actually elects to throw away the Soul Shepherd and gets rewarded as he has found Lucian and Plaza, and now even has the Spirits and everything you could possibly want.
All right, listen, I'm not gonna lie. Spirits plus Plaza is like disgusting. Both of these spells that summon all these ephemeral units, the fact that you can use spell mana, like if you have attack token on turn 3. Generally, if you're playing Grand Plaza, you want to try to play it like after your opponent's attack phase, and then you go into your turn, you can develop, you play, and then attack. But you can actually play it with the attack token on 3, and then use your spell mana, summon ephemerals, and still wreck your opponent on turn 3 with challenger units, and such a good combo.
Yeah, and that's why we even saw Scout decks start to play Double Trouble. Just a spell
Same
that
thing.
You can play in the same turn as Plaza.
Which arguably might be better just because, those units do stick around. They're not ephemeral. The ephemeral ones typically are a little bit stronger. But, again, we mentioned earlier, we're not really seeing as much of the scouts as we have in the past. So, and actually, it looks like this has frozen. So, let me...
Gotcha. In the meantime, we see, there's the Grand Plaza. This is probably going to be followed up by one of the ephemeral spells, either the Onslaught of Shadows or the Stirred Spirits. Onslaught would give him the capabilities to kill the Elise, and you're not leveling the Lucian this turn anyway, so maybe that is the one that we're going to go for. We only have the mana for one of them, though. Statman's taking his time trying to think about what 4-drop he wants to play this turn, knowing that he's probably not safe to get down either a Twisted Fate or a Zap Strafe, and actually has both of them in his hand.
All right, there we go. We should be back up and running, so I do apologize for that. But, yeah, good start by JJ here, just getting the Twisted Fate and the Elise down super early. But, the thing with Grand Plaza, this particular build, too, it goes hard really fast. So we see the Haunted Relic here, like I had mentioned, using the spell mana. And now all of a sudden, this entire field is just going to get cleared on the side of JJStatman with all of these units having ephemeral. Plus, we'll be able to push through, it looks like, that 2 damage with the Soul Shepherd as well. So, pretty good turn for Xeloo, not going to lie. And this is why this deck is so good. And this is why the Hecarim version is so much better. I don't know why I ever brought Callista to that tournament. That was garbage. Hecarim is so much better now. And that, I guess, is the saving grace for Grand Plaza. The fact that Grand Plaza makes Hecarim good, I love.
It's always interesting to see when Hecarim pops back up into the meta, because he was an absolute terror in the beta. He was one of the scariest cards that you could possibly run into.
Oh, yeah. Jesus. Everybody was playing Hecarim back then. What was he, a 5/6? Does that sound right?
Yep.
Or something like that? Yeah, I forget.
Is this a visual bug?
What's up?
So the Unleashed Spirits showed up as 2/2s for me, but they should have been 3/3s. But I know that there is a problem with things that give buffs to units and Grand Plaza, where for some reason the unit will only get +1/+1 when it should get +2/+2.
Oh, I didn't realize there was a bug. No, so
Yeah, somebody pointed it out with Battlesmith, where if you have out Battlesmith and Grand Plaza, some elites were only getting +1/+1.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll see if that happens again when some more of these ephemerals come down. Which, I mean, we have more Onslaught of Shadows, so I'm sure that will come down soon. In the meantime, we have Grizzled Ranger, and this is another ridiculous card with Grand Plaza. This card alone, Grizzled Ranger, is why the Garen Aurelian Soul version is so good. The fact that you're able to just control the board so well with a unit that can attack twice in one turn with 4 attack and replace itself is insane. This card's great. It's been great since it was released. Believe it or not, it actually was even stronger before they nerfed it. And yeah, it's doing work again here in this deck for Xeloo.
And Xeloo throwing down the double plaza. That's not something that you see every day in the Shadow Isle version specifically, because this is the one that needs to be a little bit more worried about its board space. You know, between the Stirred Spirits and just all of the ephemerals that you're going to be summoning, this is the one where it gets difficult because you can't overwrite the units because they're coming out off of a spell. You do need to be a little bit more cognizant of your board space, but Xeloo deciding, you know what, I don't have anything at the moment that says that I can't put, 2 Plaza on the board, so I'm just going to rock with that for now.
Yeah, and it's, what I guess I underestimated this in the, when I was playing the triple Grand Plaza lineup as well. It's actually, ladies and gentlemen, it is okay to overwrite a landmark. It is 100% okay to overwrite a landmark. And there actually is a lot of situations where that is the right move. Especially in this deck where you are generally filling your board with a lot of units with these, these spells that summon these ephemeral units. You will at some point probably need to overwrite a Grand Plaza. The unfortunate part is you cannot do that with these spells. Spells don't afford you that ability to actually choose to overwrite something. They get obliterated if they get summoned. So it's kind of a weird area to navigate around sometimes when you are playing these cards and summoning these units. You have to be very, very careful.
And this is what we were talking about earlier on in the day with the Lucian Hecarim not being the most consistent deck in the world, but does have really high roll capabilities. If that Lucian had survived for Xeloo, then this would be a totally different game. It'd probably be over by now, but instead we are seeing the other side of that coin where you're bricking out on these, these ephemeral spells and this relentless pursuit that really isn't going to do a whole lot in a deck where your only threat in hand is this other ephemeral card. You really need something like a Hecarim, and we're actually just going to throw it down right now.
Yeah, we kind of have to. I mean, it's really our only option. And again, so what I just mentioned with the spells and the overwriting of the landmarks is kind of coming to bite Xeloo a little bit here. I don't think, nothing here gets traded away. So we couldn't play the spell. We couldn't get those additional 2 units. If we did play it, we would have only gotten 1. This will lead us into a pretty good open attack, but just feels really bad not being able to get this Onslaught of Shadows down. And we even have a 3rd Grand Plaza in hand. Let's just throw that out there. This is not the greatest draw in the world.
Yeah, I mean, so Xeloo's in an okay spot. But if he does find a big threat like Hecarim, I think he is going to get baited into throwing that down. And Statman has the Ruination. Now, Plaza, at the end of the day, is still very much a Demacia card and plays like a Demacia card. And that means that you need to have units in hand or on board to really take advantage of it. And you don't do super well into Ruination. That is not a problem that Grand Plaza fixed for you.
And all right, Withering Wail is at least going to take care of the Soul Shepherd. I am not sold on Soul Shepherd being in this deck. I wasn't playing it in the Callista version, but even with the Hecarim, which generally has more ephemeral units, I don't know. I don't think it's a very impactful card when everything else is just so aggressive. That seems so not aggressive, I guess. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, you are playing a Shark Chariot version, so I get it. But yeah, I mean, it definitely feels like one of those cards, and maybe it's just because we never see it. This is sort of the first Soul Shepherd deck that we've seen in tournament we expect to have a chance at making top cut.
And I mean, from here, it's interesting, right, though, because, all right, so JJStatman is seemingly in control of this game, and we even have a Ruination to fall back on if the board gets too out of control. The problem is one Hecarim top deck, blows this game out, especially with a Rekindler in hand. All right, so we're actually going to play the Rekindler.
Yeah, we just want the Lucian.
Yeah, and now that we're outside of Ruination range, I mean, I don't hate that. I think it's pretty good play. Unfortunately, not going to get all of these challenger effects going into next turn. We are representing Relentless Pursuit mana, but we know that Xeloo doesn't have Relentless Pursuit, which honestly, that would just win the game here, most likely. So we are just relying on this Onslaught of Shadows next turn. I mean, we could Onslaught next turn for the 1 unit, and then it's also going to get the Shark Chariot back. But that feels so bad.
And we would end up running into the problem of, potential of a Ruination.
And
sorry, I'm getting thrown off because Twitch is crashing on me again.
Oh yeah, Twitch is absolutely crashing all over the place for me. We're still
so
up,
weird.
but the chat is like, I can't get it on my phone. I can't get it on my laptop. Yeah.
It actually just kicked me out of your stream, said it didn't exist, but still had it in like a pop-up in the corner.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. No, it's still, the stream is like on.
All right,
it's
so
working.
There's the Ruination, and I was wondering about this. Is Xeloo going to go for the Triple Plaza Onslaught? It only pushes 10 damage. I say only 10 damage, but if you are running yourself out of cards to do that,
doesn't feel good.
It's not that great.
Yeah, but
all it takes is 1 unit to cut that in half. Yeah, you get to kill the unit, but we even see a sort of a throwaway in Statman's hand in this Jagged Butcher.
Yeah, and we don't really have another option, to be honest with you. Like, there's nothing else that we can do here. And wow, okay. JJStatman not even going to throw out any of the... Wait.
I think he forgot about the Shark Chariots.
I think we just forgot about the Shark Chariots, too.
Yeah.
Everybody forgot about the Shark Chariots. I was like, wait a second. Boulevard just said 10 damage. That's not 10 damage.
One blocker would have saved you.
Yeah,
because that would have only been 16, and you were at 17. So Statman could have survived that, but just honestly... You don't play against Shark Chariot all that often.
No, and that's kind of the... So this is the argument I had when this game first came out. So that's going to go to Xeloo there, this first game. So Xeloo going up 1-0. So when the game first came out and Shark Chariot, it was obviously in the first set, my whole issue with Shark Chariot was there was no graveyard. And now the way that the game works, we don't need a graveyard for the interactions to work as they do. But when there isn't a graveyard, you're less apt to remember those things because you're not checking graveyards.
Yeah.
Other games, I remember I'm always like, I'm like, hey, can I look at your graveyard? I grab their graveyard, I look through it to like remind myself. You don't really do that here, and honestly, I don't think it's in that sidebar, is it?
I mean, you can go and find them, but it's not going to like tell you how many Shark Chariots are popping out when your opponent puts an ephemeral on board or anything like that.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, that is part of player skill, and I feel like. I know that people were not thrilled about the idea of the eye when that was revealed, and they were like, well, part of player skill is understanding how these interactions are going to play out and not misplaying. Like, it makes it feel misplay proof. And I mean, things like Shark Chariot, yeah, I mean, I don't think that you should have, you should have to remember some things when playing a card game.
Yeah, I do agree to an extent. But, I mean, I like the eye. I think overall the eye is good.
I think everybody likes the eye more than they thought they would.
Yeah.
It was kind of like an elitist concern of like, oh, well, you should remember how combat's going to play out and how these other interactions are going to work out and be able to count up math and stuff like that.
Math? Who needs that?
I mean, we all felt the pain of the eye going away every time your opponent attacks with a Teemo, which is honestly a pretty big occurrence these days because of that randomization aspect to it. All of a sudden, the eye doesn't function. It's a really weird thing.
You know what's really unfortunate, and they'll probably fix this, but something like Death Ray MK1, which I've experimented with a lot because I really like that card. That won't show the eye either.
Yeah, neither will. I mean, anything that has an element of randomization, such as shuffling. It's weird because I would never expect the eye to tell me where in the top 3 the MK beam is going to end up, but for some reason it just completely takes the eye offline.
Yeah. It's like, what does it do? Flip the deck upside down? It shows you the order of the deck? Like,
yeah.
But here we go. We have a Wild Zoe getting down nice and early here, getting this super cool star chart. And we'll see how impactful that's going to be. Honestly, in this matchup, TF Gohard, which is another reason why I feel that Zoe is doing so much work here in this meta, getting something like a Serpent is pretty big early on in the TF Gohard matchup because TF Gohard usually goes pretty wide, has a lot of 2 health units. So being able to pick off some of those or even a Twisted Fate with something like the Serpent feels really, really good from the Zoe player.
Yeah, and you really can't make the argument that Go Hard's going to kill the Serpent, because if they had a Go Hard, my Zoe wouldn't have gotten me a super cool star chart in the first place. So, like, once that Zoe connects, you know that you're actually safe to go for these other 1 health units and just kind of go on that plan for at least a little bit.
Yeah, and it looks like we are just waiting for Xeloo to make a decision. Looks like he is going to go ahead and pass it back over to JJStatman. Turn 4, attack token on the side of JJ. Here comes that Twisted Fate with the red card, which feels really good right now, not going to lie. Getting rid of the Zoe and the Spacey Sketcher. Question's going to be, do we get a Serpent? And we can see in Xeloo's hand that is not going to be the case right now. No Serpent in sight.
Now, it is a Moon Silver, and now he's got a... Okay. Well, I was going to talk about his options as far as the 4 drops, but is just going to run out of 2 and a 2. I would imagine Messenger is going to come down alongside this.
All right. And back over to Xeloo.
Yeah, just completely turning off the attacks for the turn. Not too bad for Xeloo. Going for the Sunderer, or the... Is its name Sunderer? Sunforger. Okay. I saw the word Sun and then a sticky letter, but... Oh, the pre-combat Dreadweight Deckhand acting as a pseudo-fog with that keg. And Xeloo's attacks don't look, you know, phenomenal. It's not bad, but I've seen better. And Statman still feels like they've got a pretty good grip on the game. You know, we have this Ruination, and not a lot of threats in Xeloo's hand so far. We are still a few turns away from getting down this Eclipse Dragon, and even that in of itself isn't like a major threat, right? Statman's going to be pretty okay to just continuously chump block a unit like that. We really need one of these big elusives to end the game, and we only got a couple of shots at finding something like that with Xeloo's current hand.
Yeah, I mean, we do have the Eclipse Dragon. You know, at some point we can get the Eclipse Dragon down, get the Celestial and the Dragon generated if we do use the Nightfall effect.
I mean, we could see Moon Silver Eclipse Dragon next turn. That is a play that I'm a big fan of.
Oh, yeah, that feels so good. So good. And we are going to get the Go Hard, though, onto the Sunforger. I really like Solari Sunforger. I have heard people argue that Radiant Guardian needs to go back up to what it once was because of Sunforger. I don't necessarily agree with that, but yeah, I like Sunforger. I think after what happened with the Radiant Guardian of old, I really think Sunforger and Demacia and all that is in a really good spot with Lifesteal. And okay, Zap Sprayfin coming down, gonna get a Go Hard. So this would be, what, the second one? We've only had one played so far.
I'm not gonna lie, between all the crashes on everybody's screen and having to stop spec that way, you can hover it.
Oh yeah. See, I'm forgetting I can even do that stuff now. Okay, yeah, 1 out of 3.
Okay, that's what I thought, but I wanted to make absolutely sure.
Yeah, I actually checked with just so you know. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Glad. I mean, Joe said he's still watching. The chat is just like not on, which is pretty stupid.
Yeah.
I might actually try restarting the stream later. Maybe that'll help jog it. It's Twitch in general though, isn't it?
Yeah, because my Twitch is freaking out in a couple of different ways, but we do get down this pre-combat Eclipse Dragon. Don't find really impactful cards off of it. We get the Messenger and the White Flame Protector, and while you're never going to feel too bad about a Messenger, when the alternative was something like a Great Beyond or a Destroyer, it really hails in comparison.
All right, here we go. We have another Go Hard coming down. This is going to be the second 1 out of 3. And honestly, I mean, JJ in a pretty good spot if we could get one of these Picket cards off. If Picket card goes off, we have Twisted Fate currently at 3 out of 8.
This will put him up to 7, and then salvage, yeah, I'll just level it. And I mean, that's something that we see happen all the time. That's almost expected against Targon decks, that you will be able to level your Twisted Fate.
Yeah, it's pretty easy. Well, Targon that doesn't play Grand Plaza.
Yeah. I mean, without Demacia, you know, because it's always the Demacia tools that actually threaten the Twisted Fate. Here in Targon, really not a lot.
Yeah, we do have 2 more Zaps, which unfortunately can't play both this turn because of the 4 cost. But the 1 Zap will get the TF leveled, which is nice because we don't actually have to play that salvage that you were talking about. We can save that and put that in our back pocket and instead develop additional units, which always feels better. I imagine we'll try to get down Jagged Butcher at some point, but this Diana is going to start doing a little bit of work to get rid of some of these elusive units on the side of JJStatman.
So one other thing worth noting is that if Xeloo gets down the messenger this turn, we actually have an online Skies Descend next turn on 11 mana.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's a good point. I always forget. I always think that Skies Descend is only dragons. But it's actually dragons and celestials. So
sometimes I forget that dragons count for it, and I'm just trying to get like 5 celestials on board. See, and I'm like, Aurelion Soul is basically a celestial. That's why he counts.
See, our powers combined, we can actually remember the full effect of a card. Well, and here we go. Here's the attack. Now we do have a way to get red card out. Unfortunately for JJ, I mean, this Pale Cascade means we're losing RTF. So maybe do you just throw down the salvage just for the sake of getting the red card out?
I mean, so Twitch has once again minimized your window, so I can't tell for sure, but I think he's got fleeting cards in hand.
Yeah, he's got a Zap Sprayfin and a Jagged Butcher. So you can still play. You could have
okay,
never
yeah, you
played.
can still play the Butcher then.
Yeah, the Zap Sprayfin was never on the table. So yeah, it looks like we are gonna have that from JJ.
The red card really doesn't feel like it does anything here, though. It's going to get negated by the Fury on the Eclipse Dragon, and then the Diana, of course, has the quick attack, so we'll be able to kill the Twisted Fate, and then going to go back down to a 2-2 at the end of the turn anyway.
Yeah, I think, you push the 1 damage to Nexus, but at that point, it's really just like, why not? Oh, I guess technically, you're getting the Plunder for the Jagged Butcher. So
yeah, that is well. I mean, yeah, getting it down as a 3/3 is not irrelevant. Now it actually does contest some things.
Yeah.
Gonna go ahead and play out the White Flame Protector as well. Didn't bank the spell mana to have a, sort of an online Skies Descend, but I don't think we were going to be playing it this turn anyway.
Yeah, no, I don't think we're too worried about that. And honestly, JJ doesn't really have big enough of a field to even merit playing the Skies Descend right now.
Yeah, and honestly, JJ's hand is not looking great for the position that they're in. They really need to find more units. And, I mean, Xeloo's sitting really pretty at 17 HP, probably going to be able to threaten the Skies Descend from here on out with absolutely no problem. I mean, is Statman, is he on Pack Your Bags, or are we still 1 away from that?
I think we are 1 away, so we just need 1 more Go Hard to get played.
Gotcha. I mean, we do have a little bit of draw power, but because we're behind on board, it doesn't really feel like we're in a position where we can just be proactively throwing away our units to a Glimpse Beyond. Now, we are against Targon, so we know that it's probably going to work out, but we need the blockers, because this is a deck with Atrocity out of Xeloo.
Yeah, and here looks like just the Zap going to go in, which means we will push the 2 damage. All right, so the problem on the side of JJ is we're not really doing much.
Yeah.
It's like
I talked about how bad this Glimpse looks, but you still feel like you have to do it. If you can find a Pack Your Bags, that's how you turn this game around.
But does that even do it? Like, okay, great. Pack Your Bags clears the field, pushes some damage onto Xeloo. Xeloo, I believe, is playing Star Shaping, right?
Yeah.
So,
it's more about getting control of the board again, because you're never going to outstat the units that Xeloo's putting down this turn.
Yeah, but I just don't... I think we're gonna need to go really, really late game, I think, for JJ to be able to do that. To get like multiple Pack Your Bags off in a row to actually clear the board and then deal damage to face and then start to push, some attacks and whatnot. I don't know. It's gonna be interesting to see how JJ actually attempts to really take control of this game, because right now, definitely not in control of this game.
Yeah, it's going to be an uphill battle, and he needs a couple of things to go right before Xeloo can get certain things online. And I am actually pretty surprised that Xeloo hasn't played this Mountain Scryer yet.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, it's a free invoke. We're not really reducing the cost of anything as it currently stands. There is Ladros, so Ladros actually is pretty good draw from JJ. We don't see any Obliterate on the side of Xeloo yet, but that could change at any point. And that's going to be something that JJ is going to have to be worried about.
I was definitely a little surprised to see the Goat come down over the Scryer. But, it is what it is. We still got Skies Descends online, but of course don't need to fire them off. Instead, we are just going to go in for the open attack. And even if you block the 2 biggest threats, that's 7 damage. Honestly, not a lot. It doesn't put Statman in any sort of atrocity range, especially with that Doom Beast that he still has in hand. And this could just be Ladro's turn out of Statman.
Yeah, I don't see why not. I mean, the attack already used up. I mean, you're pretty free to just play what you need to play. And
that's not what I thought we were starting the turn with. I figured we're either going for a lot of draw this turn, or the Ladros, and starting off with the Fortune Croaker.
But why? But why do we ever play a naked Fortune Croaker?
I don't want to necessarily chalk it up to a misclick. I think that Statman might have something in mind.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like you can pretty easily always play something like the Dreadway deckhand, and then,
even if you don't kill the keg, just push the damage onto the deckhand. It's definitely an odd line, and I'm not seeing a payoff. Maybe it was just a misclick, and we did want to play the Ladros.
Yeah, I'm gonna because it was next to the Ladros, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was all the way to the left of the hand, or all the way to the right of the hand too. So the only thing you could have been reaching for, I think, was Ladros.
Yeah, he must have just assumed it was the last card in his hand. Still, that feels kind of bad. I mean, we're still gonna get Ladros down, but I don't know, man. I feel like the quicker you're able to get Ladros down, the better, because it's just more chances that you'll be able to have him die and get his effect off multiple times, right?
Or, at least just take the draw. What do you care if your Dreadway deckhand's at 1 HP?
Yeah, right.
Okay, but we did get a Falling Comet, so we do now have the Obliterate for the Ladros, and we are out of Glimpse Beyonds on the side of Statman, which I gotta say, man, I remember playing Karina Control and just always having like 1 to 2 Glimpse Beyonds in the deck so that you could proactively Ladros. It always felt so good, but now we're gonna lose it.
Yep, and there's the comment. So we didn't have the Obliterate. Now we have the Obliterate. Like I said, it's usually not hard for any of the Invoke decks to find some sort of Obliterate. So Ladros usually not going to stick around for too long. And now that the Ladros is gone, I mean, there's not any heal that we see right now in Xeloo's hand. So if we can get some... we have the Sunforger, yeah.
But that has to connect. There are ways around that for Statman. I mean, if you really wanted to, you could even throw a Vengeance at it. You probably want to save that for a higher priority target, but you also really want to keep your opponent within Pack Doom Beast range.
Ooh, okay, so we do already have Pack. I don't know if there was another Go Hard played in between there somewhere, but the problem is now that we've played that Salvage, we are outside of Ruination range, which feels kind of bad. And yeah, now we don't have a way to deal with this Larry Sunforger. So it doesn't seem like JJ is really worried right now about that lifesteal. Just going to kind of let it happen. And possibly, I mean, maybe Xeloo gets baited into playing more things onto the field and we just get a better, bigger Ruination, possibly, but I don't know.
It could still be the Vengeance in combat as well. There's a couple of options for Statman, but I think you really want to keep I mean, it's rough, right? Because as juicy as that 7 HP does look, because you have the Doom Beast, you know that you're already on Pack, you're theoretically looking at lethal. But if you expend something like a Vengeance onto the Sunforger, and then a Star Shaping comes out later on, and suddenly you don't have Vengeance for the larger threat that you needed it for, you're not going to feel like you made a winning line. You're going to feel like you kind of threw that game away.
And here's the block. We're going to line it up with the Dreadway deckhand.
So Statman just not getting greedy on this one, saying, you know what, it's totally fine. I still have a level Twisted Fate that I can run out, and honestly, that's a pretty good turn. But gonna start off with the Doom Beast instead.
And okay, here's a Pack Your Bags. So
and there's a Star Shaping.
And there's a Star Shaping. Well, here's the thing too. If we do start with something like Pack Your Bags, which we're gonna get the TF down first. There's also Skies Descend, which feels so bad right now.
You can only Skies Descend while you have your board. You would have to do it right now, which honestly, I don't think it's the worst play in the world, because you are still, like, there is a leveled Twisted Fate on your opponent's side of the field.
Yeah.
The question that you would have to have is, with 6 mana available, can my opponent kill me if they have Pack Your Bags? And the answer is very much yes.
Yeah. And wow, we're this is gonna JJ walking into a huge Skies Descend here, and I don't
still has lethal though. If the Skies Descend, you just play Pack, play Elise.
Ooh, so does Xeloo pass again? I mean,
Xeloo
must be worried about it, because the problem with playing Skies Descend is you lose all your mana. You're done.
Yeah, and Xeloo can't get around it, because if the Pack comes out, you don't have Skies Descend mana anymore. It's a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation for Xeloo, and Statman looks like they had the cards to actually pick up the game.
Yeah, here we go. Statman gonna take it. And I'm going to go ahead and eat my words. There was a way for Statman to take this one home, and this is it. And I guess that's the downside of the Skies Descend. I mean, generally speaking, it feels like really good one-sided removal. It just kills your opponent's board. But now we're out of mana. We got no responses, and we're dead.
Yep, that Moonsilver not going to be able to reduce anything down to 0 mana to put on the board, and that does mean that Statman's going to pick up this game.
Tying up the series 1-1, and just in time, I think, for Twitch to be working again.
I still don't have chat, but I do have the stream back. It's a wonky day for Twitch, apparently.
Oh boy, Twitch. Well, here's the 3 damage coming in hot. So we are going to go to a game 3. So again, for anybody just joining us, we are on round 3 of OLS number 17 here. We got Xeloo versus JJStatman, who was awesome enough at the very beginning of the day to let us know that he is streaming today. And so far, off to a good start. Both players are 2-0. We'll see who's able to advance to 3-0. Both, regardless of a win or loss, will still likely be in the running for the top cut today. And we are doing, just as a reminder, 7 rounds of Swiss before cut to a top 8, correct?
That sounds right.
All right. I knew you had my back there. So, but yeah, so we'll see how this round ends here between Xeloo and JJStatman going into game 3, and it looks like we are going to have your pretty typical Ezreal Draven deck going up against the same deck that we just saw on the side of Xeloo, and Captain Farron here early for JJStatman.
I have on a League of Draven shirt, so I guess I do have to be a little bit biased today towards the Draven Ezreal players.
I am jealous. Where did you get that shirt, by the way?
It was on the League merch store. It was like $10.
$10?
Yeah, like I said, they were having a sale and everything was just like $10.
Wait, is that sale still on?
I don't think so. This was like 3 weeks ago.
Dude, why do you not tell me these things, Boulevard?
I'm on their email list. I assume that you are as well.
I think so. I just don't ever read my emails.
I think I bought like 10 shirts, because $10 t-shirts that's League merch. Yeah, that's great stuff to wear on cast.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I kind of want to. I like my Dragon Ball Z, but I'm looking for some new gaming shirts.
Yeah, we got to shill entirely. We can't half-ass it.
So, all right. What are we gonna do?
Talk to me about these Tri-Beam Improbulators.
Oh, so they killed Nautilus pretty easy.
I shouldn't open my big fat mouth. Not a lot of activation for them in the hand of Statman at the moment. I mean, we've got the Sump Dredger, and with a little bit of working, we could get a Thermo Beam there. But
yeah,
outside of Mountain Scryer, not really looking for a 3 damage beam.
No, I got to agree with you there.
Thermo Beam, that is.
Yeah, and these Tri-Beams, though, I will say, I mean, we have them early. We only have 1 3-cost card in hand as it currently stands, but, I mean, this is when you want to draw them, right? I mean, this feels good to have them early, possibly get them buffed up a little bit earlier, and maybe they'll be more impactful late game, take out something like an Eclipse Dragon or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, what do you even discard at the moment?
For
the...
Oh, Sump Dredger?
Yeah.
Nothing. I don't think you play it yet. I think, we got to draw.
I would imagine this might be, depending on how much we really care about getting this kill onto the House Spider. Didn't expect the Pale Cascade.
Wow.
Thought we would see... Oh. Yeah, okay, so I expected the Pale Cascade, but rather than the Dusk Petal Dust, I thought we would see the super cool Star Chart.
What, discarded?
Yeah. No, I mean played. Just, it might as well invoke my Celestial, because the Dusk Petal Dust didn't do anything this turn.
Wow, we didn't discard it. This seems so weird to me. We didn't discard the super cool Star Chart either. So that leads me to believe we're going to play it here before we go in for the attack with Zoe. Do you ever... I mean, you always prioritize getting an additional copy than reducing the cost, right?
I've never reduced the cost of a super cool Star Chart. I've always found a way to play it before I go in for the attack. But I want to say the first time I actually saw someone connect with a Zoe, the first thing they did was just attack with Zoe again next turn and reduce the cost of it.
I've seen it happen for sure. I feel like you want to either use it or discard it and then get another attack in. It just seems weird to me that we played the Spacey Sketcher, which one of the reasons we play the Spacey Sketcher is we have those super cool Star Charts to discard. We didn't discard it. Instead, we're going to play it. So it looks like Xeloo really prioritizing the most Celestial cards possible, right? Gets the Messenger, so not sure what else he had to choose. Or actually, isn't that just random?
Yeah.
Yeah, never mind. I was going to say, like...
Or no, it was an invoke, because it was off of the Star Chart.
Okay, yeah, sorry, never mind.
Yeah, so the thing that's kind of confusing to me about the way that Xeloo's been playing this is just, the inefficiency on the Dusk Petal Dust. And sure, you didn't have a target in your hand, but it just seemed so much cleaner to go for the Star Chart into the Pale. And now we even find a Diana. I mean, not even just Diana, but Eclipse Dragon at any point in the game feels good with that Dusk Petal.
Can we just look at this hand? This sucks.
I mean, I thought this was the dream.
No, not quite.
We discarded a Tri-Beam Improbulator.
I mean, it doesn't feel bad discarding it when you know you have
my heart.
My
heart.
But
we discarded a Tri-Beam. I'm hurt.
I will say, it's interesting that Xeloo decided to put the Spell Shield onto Zoe, because there are a million ways for JJ to deal with, like, the Zoe. Like, we can kill the Spell Shield, use something else to kill it. Like, there's plenty of removal.
I think what Xeloo's going for is it's actually a pretty big resource commitment to pop the Spell Shield and then kill a 3 damage unit, especially because, like, this is a 1-mana card. I've already gotten the value out of it, and if you don't kill it in a timely fashion, I actually get to level it.
Which is pretty bonkers.
Zoe's at 8 out of 10 right now. We could actually not quite level it because we've already played a super cool star chart.
Yeah, and here we go. Here's another super charger,
so
trickster, and Moonsilver.
Could level it with Moonsilver at burst speed because of the star shaping.
Yeah, and that's what Xeloo decides to grab. Oh wait, no, hold on. Was that another? Okay, no, yeah, he grabbed it. Okay, so we could still level the Zoe with that right now.
Yep. So yeah, the Zoe's gonna get leveled, and that's actually gonna be really big because Solari Sunforger does work with Zoe. Everything will gain lifesteal.
Yeah, and one thing I realized with Zoe real quick after her release, one of the questions I had when I had reviewed her was, does she need to be on the field as a level 2 champion for her effect to work? And the answer to that question, for those of you who might be wondering, is an absolute no. For the rest of the game, you summon something, all of its keywords get granted to everything, regardless of where Zoe is.
Yep, and that's something that I overlooked as well when spoilers were coming out. Part of that, like, I just really didn't look too hard at spoilers for this set. I think we were, like, casting tournaments daily at that point, like even during the weekdays. I just didn't have time to do anything but cast. So I did overlook some key things about cards like Zoe, like the fact that they don't need to stay on the field in order to sort of have all that work out.
Yeah, no, that's a very big advantage for her. You know, it gives you a little bit more incentive to actually level her up, and you know that I think that's why we're seeing Xeloo go ahead and grab the cards that he's grabbing to go ahead and, you know, make sure we get different Celestial cards to play here to get to her level up effect. And it's pretty much a foregone conclusion at this point with that Spell Shield. No matter what happens, we will be able to level her up.
One thing I did want to touch on, though, is the way that Xeloo played out this turn. I think he could have given everything Quick Attack and Challenger.
Oh, that's a good point.
Didn't.
That's a very good point.
Little bit of awkward sequencing. I think you would have had to like Moonsilver into Star Shaping and then play Diana, but you very much could have done it.
Yeah, and Quick Attack and Challenger are insane together. It's one of the reasons why we don't typically see them both combined on a card. It's very rare. It's Diana. I think there's one Noxus card that has the capabilities of doing that now as well, and that would have been pretty nice to have that. But I mean, I guess we're going into a turn where JJ is the one with the attack token, so maybe that was kind of the thought where we're going to be blocking anyways.
I would have given you a really nice attack, but it could have been just too awkward of a sequencing. But, you know, now Zoe is going to survive this Rhyme Fang Wolf because she's leveled, and for the rest of the game, everything that we play with a keyword is going to give keywords to everything else, and that is really big for decks that have Star Shaping and are going to be invoking, you know, elusive spell-shielded units.
Oh, man. And it's so, like, you're done now. Like, now you're like, oh, this Zoe is a 2-1. We can go ahead. Oh, Brutal Hunter. That's what I was thinking of, yeah. Thanks, Morp. Got my back.
I don't even have chat back yet.
Yeah. Oh, you don't? Well, this is actually in my Streamlabs, but...
Oh, okay.
But I think I can see it on Twitch now, too. I don't know. Twitch is having problems today, but... it just feels bad. This Zoe is at 2-1 now. We're like, yeah. JJ's like, yeah, we can Ravenous Flock this. This is great. We can remove it.
It's too late.
Guess what? Doesn't matter.
She's done everything she needed to do.
Yeah, she's here. She came. She's gone, and now she has impacted the game far more than you really wanted to allow her to. And we're gonna start. Does this put her at? Wait.
Ooh, did we just snap grab that Cosmic Inspiration? Yes, we did. Yeah,
this puts her at full health, and that means that this flock is negated. This feels so bad for JJ.
Everything that could go wrong for JJ is going wrong right now.
Oh, man. You know, the amount of times that we see healing on a unit to prevent things like Guillotine and Ravenous Flock now are pretty insane. And To our discussion we were having earlier about whether or not
He's
Flock...
gonna try again.
Jesus. I mean, I guess there's really no way to... See, this is what I was telling you before. A little while ago, I was talking about how we don't have a card.
How bad Ravenous Flock is because it's so situational and so easy to play around. I remember very clearly.
No. I'm talking... This is a different conversation we had. This is... but yeah, that too. No, like, there's no cards to, like, unstun something, right? We don't have a cleanse yet. I imagine that'll happen at some point. But it would be nice to have an effect like that, right?
I mean, Hush works like that sometimes, but...
Yeah. It's
yeah. All right, so now everybody's got lifesteal. A little surprised to see that come down before the Warrior, but, I mean, I guess Challenger on your Sunforger, I guess you just decide is more valuable than lifesteal on your... oh man, you know what I'm trying to say.
The keyword on the keyword on the thing.
Yeah, which unit you're giving which keywords to. You're at 19 life. This lifesteal isn't super relevant for you right now. And maybe getting down to Zoe here looks pretty good. It's not really going to work out because, I mean, as much as we've been talking about how Xeloo's been having a grand old time over here kind of solitaring the Zoe to a level up, JJStatman still has Captain Farron in hand. And Xeloo doesn't have an immediate answer for that. It would take like a Cosmic Inspiration on top of a Pale Cascade on top of a Warrior.
Well, the other thing to take into consideration is Zoe makes everything elusive.
That's true.
So now we're actually 1 mana short of lethal, taking that into consideration, because then we can play the Warrior and Zoe. But this will actually get rid of... Is this at 4? Is this at 4 damage?
It better be.
Yeah. Well,
no, we missed the Allegiance.
How can we miss the Allegiance?
The first Allegiance whiff of 2021.
Well, at least it was merited for once. But yeah, here we go.
I mean, this is a really weak set of elusives, but maybe...
Does it matter?
Do you feel like you have to Thermo Beam this Zoe? You could just throw down Ezreal as a blocker, but I really don't think you want, 0 mana Behold the Infinites coming out.
The Ezreal does kill the Zoe because the Ezreal's leveled. The problem is there's also a Pale Cascade in Xeloo's hand.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that JJ has to take into consideration if he does go that route of blocking with Ezreal. Because then that also kills his Ezreal. It's not like they just block and bounce off each other. Ezreal goes bye-bye, and all right, we're going to go for it.
Could also Hush the Ezreal. There's really not a lot of Hush targets in a deck like this.
Yeah.
If you just really want to push that through. Other options include, it looks like we might just go for the Pale Cascade kill then. This is actually going to level the Diana as well, but unfortunately Diana, like so many other champions, doesn't get the Challenger as soon as you level her, but actually no blocks coming out of Statman.
All right, interesting. So maybe now we've just kind of, all right, we're going to go for this win. We're going to Thermo. We're going to get, Ezreal off as many times as possible. We're going to play Farron and then just play Decimates and hope that our opponent can't heal. And I mean, honestly, what other choices does JJ have at this point, right? Like,
not a whole lot.
We have a decent attack. I mean, I imagine we play the Farron. We're not just going to open attack because we don't really accomplish much by open attacking since there are 2 elusive units on the other side of the field now.
Golden Sisters.
Oh man, jeez.
It's okay, so actually going for that instead of the Living Legends. Living Legends was also tempting, but Golden Sisters really should lock things up for Xeloo here because Statman is going for... So I checked out the Mobalytics tier list recently, and Draven Ezreal is on there, but it's not called Draven Ezreal. It's called Slow Burn.
Really? On Mobalytics?
Yeah, which, first of all, I thought was pretentious as hell.
Yeah, what? That's not.
Second off, it very accurately portrays how this situation is about to play out, where you really can't kill your opponent from 18. It's going to take multiple turns for something like that to happen, and Golden Sisters is just going to make it impossible for Statman to actually kill Xeloo.
Yeah, I'm kind of... Actually, I guess it doesn't matter the ordering if we play Golden Sisters this turn or not. We have plenty of lifesteal on the field anyways.
Yeah, and
so
the fact that we have 8 elusive lifesteal right now is kind of a death sentence for Statman. We could even just block with the Traveler.
We could not block.
We could not block.
We're about to summon a Golden Sisters and give everything elusive and lifesteal, which, I mean, everything on the field already has elusive and lifesteal, but that will give us 2 more elusive lifesteal units with Cosmic Inspiration on them, so 6 5s. That's just about going to lock this one up, ladies and gentlemen. And that is Zoe at its finest. Right there.
Yep.
This is why we are seeing this card played so much. Although I will say, Zoe does not level up often. All right, and Xeloo gonna take it there. Everybody, please don't forget to subscribe as per usual. I'm just throwing that out there because, listen, a lot of you guys that watch this channel aren't actually subscribed to the channel. So just hit that sub button. Why? Because we got lots of big things coming for 2021, and I am super excited to just have everybody on board. Super stoked for all the support that I've gotten over the last year, growing everything, just being a part of this Legends of Runeterra community. So thank you again. I know I thank everybody a lot, but I can't thank you guys enough. All right. So, and all the viewers, all the players, everybody involved in the tournaments, obviously, thank you as always. You guys can find all the tournament info for OLS 17 and future OLS in the description below if you want to go ahead and check it out, as well as the deck list, of course. But as always, everybody, stay healthy, stay positive. I hope shit just works for you, and peace out.